what it is and what it ain't. I'm gonna let y'all know what I think. But first, y'all need to hit that post notification bell button so you always be in the loop every time I drop a new video. Today we finna talk about that boy Badazz from the LBC crew. Now, you know what I mean? He got his start off with the LBC crew, Dog Pound Gangsta Crips. You know, he was a member of the group with Lil C Style and Technique. You know what I mean? He even was a part of the East Siders. And, you know, his one big song was Idea by Me. And it had a feature with Cocaine and Snoop Dogg. It was on Priority Records. And basically, it was a diss track aimed at Suge Knight. And Snoop verse was aimed at Suge Knight, talking about the incident when Suge Knight boys ran down on Snoop and Daz, and they got ran up out the show, and they ran to the police and got stuffed in the back of a cop car. But Badazz always had beef with Suge Knight, and Suge Knight had 20 goons beat him up out there in Vegas because Ray J showed Suge Knight a text, and you know Suge caught up with him talking to Corrupt, and he beat him up. And you know Badazz had left Death Row at the time, and that was the reason why, because he wasn't affiliated with the group no more. And you know Ray J was the blood, and Ray J befriended him and let Suge see the messages, and Suge and his whole entourage beat Badazz up at a nightclub. And you know, Badazz already had a lawsuit on Suge Knight and Tupac estate for his collaboration on Tupac album. So him and Suge wasn't seeing eye to eye because Suge's name was in the lawsuit. So they beat that boy up. And years later, Ray J saw him and they fought, and Ray J beat him up. And they was like, man, Badazz, he just washed up and stuff like that. He want to drink, get high and stuff like that. And that's why he got dropped from his label. But he worked with a lot of people like Busta Rhymes, Snoop Dogg, Butch Cassidy, Outlaws. He worked with pretty much everybody, you know what I mean? Mr. Fab. But, you know, they was like, man, that dude ain't nothing, man. He just a bum. He washed up, man. You know, he blew all his money, and now he just want to be a gangbanger and stuff. And he ended up dying at 43 years old when he was in the county, and he was in there for a domestic, and I guess he didn't bond out, so he ended up getting sick, and he ended up dying. But that's all allegedly. But I want to say R.I.P. the Badazz. He did a lot of music. He was the guy from the 90s that Snoop Dogg used to always talk about, along with Lil Half Dead. He from Hawaiian Gardens, Los Angeles. He moved to Long Beach early on. He was serious about his cripping. Did a lot of drug dealing. And he changed his life around when he met Snoop Dogg at the VIP studio, and he got to work, and you know what I mean, they put out a lot of albums, but all his albums really wasn't successful, but his name was big, and you know, he was able to work records all through the Midwest and the West Coast region. But he died at 43 years old, and that's about it on that boy Badazz. Peace of mind.